Hello, Flight Sim fans, and today we are sitting on Winslow Lindbergh Regional Airport in Winslow, Arizona. It's about, I don't know, 25, 30 miles southeast of Flagstaff. Today we're going to fly to Meteor Crater. Meteor Crater is one of the, well, only in the United States, is the only meteor impact crater that we can still see. So that hasn't been eroded away. And it's sometimes called Meteor Crater if I get my mouse to stop, you know, stop flying across the screen. Um, it's the only meteor crater that you can see in the United States. And sometimes it's known as Meteor Crater. Sometimes it's called Barringer Crater because the Barringer family owns it. So it's about 15 miles west of Winslow. I think it's on a two. If you take if you look here, this the Winslow VOR, it's about a 254, 255 radial off the Winslow VOR. But I'm not going to use the VOR. I'm just going to fly to it because I've flown to it for several times. I've turned the weather off here in Arizona. It's really fun. The weather can be really interesting in Arizona. Um, it's always windy. It seems that every time I use real world weather here in Arizona, it's always a 20 or 30 mile an hour wind. It's just insane. So if you want to have some fun here, turn the turn the weather on, and you'll have some fun landings and some equally interesting takeoffs. So the plane's already started here, so I'm just going to go ahead and remove the brakes. I'm going to go ahead and turn up the desktop audio and see if that kind of makes a difference here in the recording. I hope it's not drowning anything out. I'm still trying to get the audio set up for Linux. Just set up for Linux. It's a different beast than doing it with Windows. So I'm just going to position myself a little higher here in the cockpit so I can see over the nose. So let's go ahead and turn the brakes off and throttle up, and let's go take a look at Meteor Crater. I probably should have taken off the other end of the airport, but this will be fine. So 60 knots. Oh, came back down. Another one of the interesting things, especially for general aviation aircraft in Arizona, is that you start off, you're already at a 5,000 foot altitude here. So we're still over the airport, but I'm going to go ahead and make this left-hand turn. And so you're already starting at this, 5,000 feet. So it could be a little crazy, the altitude. So I am running HD Mesh version 3 on X-Plane 11, so I do have the OSM data and stuff like that. Now, I didn't think I was drawing shadows, but I guess I am drawing shadows. So we're just going to fly down this road. This area of Arizona is really pretty neat. You could just like take off from Flagstaff Regional, and you can fly north for about 30 or 40 miles, and there's the Grand Canyon. You fly about 15 miles southeast, and there's Meteor Crater. And then you have a volcanic field that's just northeast of Flagstaff. So if if you're like me and you have an interest in VFR flying, then Flagstaff is really one of the areas that you want to go to. So I'm not going to really slow down here. I probably will just go ahead and engage my autopilot so I don't have to keep trying to control the altitude or anything like that. It makes me less of a pilot and whatever. So I'm just going to turn I've got the autopilot set to my actually onto a button on my HOTAS. So we're about 6,000 feet, give or take, and we're flying out to Meteor Crater. And I have tried, and I'm going to try doing flights with Ortho XP. I do have it, and it works fine on Linux. The only thing I'm having problems with is, as we look at some of the dunes here, the only things I have problem with is I think it's the DSF. So if like the trees and the roads with the cars on them and the buildings and stuff like that, that doesn't show up. So I need to find a fix for that. And I already found the fix with the height data, because the server that it uses, that it's a French server or something like that it uses, it doesn't give you the height, map height, terrain data for the United States, because I guess every time I try to use it, it gave me a 404 page, so I'm guessing that website's down. So there's another site that you can go to and download height maps for your grid square. So that's what I do. And it's really pretty cool, except for it just doesn't have any of the traffic data. It has no trees, no buildings, or anything like that. So until I've got that figured out, I'm not going to run Ortho XP. Even though I'm trying, I want to really run Ortho XP. And even on this machine, which I have a lot of videos about what I run, even on this machine it runs pretty good. So I think I'm going to have to turn left here. Yep, because there's the crater. So let's go ahead and make this, sorry about hitting the mic. Let's go ahead and make this turn to 240. Go ahead and head for the crater. And an interesting thing about the crater in real life is that I think in August, it was 1964, but I think it was in August of 1964, two American airline pilots who flew down from Wichita, Kansas, stayed the night in Winslow and left the next morning, tried to overfly Meteor Crater in a Cessna 150. And immediately upon coming over the rim of the crater, the 150 lost all lift. So the pilot, these are both airline pilots, both with, I think, I read the aviation report for the accident, and I'll link it in the description if you want to take a look at it. And I'll link some pictures at the end of the video of the wreckage. But they tried to make they tried to establish lift by diving into the crater so they can gain speed to come back over the crater rim, and ended up stalling the aircraft, and the aircraft crashed. One pilot was knocked unconscious. They both suffered severe injuries. The one pilot that wasn't unconscious had a broken back, but he was able to crawl out of the wreckage and drag the other pilot out of the wreckage because the wreckage had caught fire. So, but that wreckage is still in the bottom of Meteor Crater. The wreckage of that 150 that crashed in 1964. I'll also post like probably a Wikipedia link to Meteor Crater. So if you want to learn more about the crater itself, go ahead and get about 300 feet of climb here. So if you want to, that Wikipedia link would be if you want to learn more about Meteor Crater or anything like that. So it's just a heading bug, so we can fly. Now I've flown over this several times, so I'm not going to lose lift flying over it. But if you have any suggestions for areas that you would like to see VFR flights on here, especially once I start getting Ortho XP to work, and not work per se, but to show the actual OSM data and I guess it's DSF. Once I get that sorted out, and just drop a comment, and I will fly that site. Now I like to fly like natural formations and stuff like that. If they like the blue hole, I'd like to fly that, but I don't think that would be correctly modeled in here. I might Have to try it though as we approach Meteor Crater. So I'm going to go off to the north of it here. Go on a little bit more of a westerly course. Now the crater is, let me bring some information up on it on my tablet here. If y'all are wondering what if I use anything else to fly with, I do use Flight Plan Go for Android because it's free and I don't need a subscription to use it. And it's pretty nice. As I'm looking for Meteor Crater, it's about 1,000 feet. I think it's about 1,000 feet across. And let me bring it up here real quick. So as I'm looking for the dimensions here, it's 1,200 meters, so it's about 3,900 feet in diameter. As I'm going to switch to the outside view here, as we take a look at it here. So I'm flying over it. See if I can zoom out a little bit. Yeah. So as we're flying over Meteor Crater is 3,900 feet in diameter, and it's about 560 feet deep. So, around in here would be the Cessna wreckage down on the bottom here. And the only thing it really does, like here's the visitor center, and there's actually a wooden observation deck here, but you can't go into the crater, I don't think. But so yeah, there's also, they did a core drilling here looking for the actual meteor. It was formed about 50,000 years ago during the Pleistocene. So we're in the Holocene now. So in the last, prior to the last ice age, or during the last ice age. So I'm going to turn here and go back over it, and then we'll head back to Winslow. So I'm going to go ahead and just turn back to 090. Take it back, look back up towards Flagstaff. I'm looking for the crater out here out the right. Probably look a little down, and the wing's a little in the way. There it is. So yeah, if you want to fly this formation, then this crater, you can start off at Winslow. It's KINW, and just fly west, and you'll see it. It's about, like I said, it's about 255 radial from the Winslow VOR. So we're going to make another pass here, and then we'll go ahead and head back to Winslow. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and just fly into the crater. I've flown into it before, but nah. Yeah, let's go ahead and just we'll attempt to recreate the flight. I'm going to go ahead and switch off the autopilot here. Like I said, I have the autopilot toggles on my, I don't even know what button this is. This button number 2 on the HOTAS. So as we pick up a little more speed. Some people might be asking why I fly the Cessna all the time. I fly a lot of VFR. I don't find pleasure in flying airliners up at 30,000 feet. To me, that's kind of boring. It kind of defeats the purpose of flying. Have a couple Coronado aircraft that, for one reason or another, really don't work on here. Like I had the A36 Beach Bonanza. When you raise the landing gear on it, it doesn't. The landing gear doors do not close. And Coronado has said that they're not going to patch any of their planes until the final version of X-Plane 11 is out. And if you have any questions, this is actually about what I'm running. This is X-Plane 11 Public Beta 6. Make this tighter turn into the Meteor Crater. I'm actually in the crater now, just flying around in circles. And I'm starting to lose airspeed, so I'm going to go ahead and just power up and make it back over the rim. So, like I said, you can fly into the crater and back out of the crater, and it's not even going to bother you. So I'm going to go up here, and I'm not going to use the GPS or VR or nav radios or anything. I'm just go up here and find this road. It looks like a 4-lane road, and I'll follow that back to Winslow. And I already see it on my GPS, so I'll just head in that direction. I'll just hit autopilot again, and I'll just altitude hold. As we head back to Winslow for our landing and the end of the video. Well, like I said, it was about the 172. If I had to, the only 3 planes I would probably ever fly in this game for this type of video, for VFR video, would be the 172 or the 182. I'd fly the 152. Any of the Cessnas, any of the high wing Cessnas, the 177, stuff like that. You get a great view out the. You're not, your view isn't really obstructed by the wing when you're doing these VFR. I can duck down and look and see out the side, and there's not a wing there to obstruct my view of the ground. I mean, even though I have the A36, the PC-12, and the Saratoga TC, and all those are, low wing aircraft. I think I mentioned it yesterday in my Mount St. Helens video. I'd like to see a lot more bush planes in the. That's my phone saying it's dying. I'd like to see a lot more bush planes in the game. Maybe some carbon cubs, and modern bush planes, not the old bush planes. We have the, what is it, that Linton 5 or whatever it is in here. I'm talking about modern bush planes. Maybe Cessna 170s. Those aren't really modern, but it's planes like that. We have the Cessna 185, but that's for X-Plane 10. I don't have that one, but like dedicated bush planes. I think those would be pretty fun to fly. What I'd really like to see is like the Carbon Cub or the X Cub or something like that. Any of the planes from Cub Crafters. So we're probably about, let's just go ahead and clear this flight plan. I was flying to Buffalo. I was going to fly to Buffalo last night. Now I was just like, I got too tired. And KRMN is the airport that's closest to me in real life. Clear that out too. I'm not even going to set a waypoint. I'm just going to. Winslow should be off to our northwest. No, northeast. So for those of you who are going to go ahead and duck out now, I'd like to thank you for watching. And for those of you who are staying, I'll try to make a halfway decent landing. As my dog keeps walking up and down the steps and fidgeting. In the background here. Just a note, I have a friend that flies, and he has a golden retriever, and he has a Cessna, I think it's a 172, an older model. He takes his dog flying with him all the time. I would probably take my dog flying too if I had a plane. Winslow's over here somewhere. As I'm looking for it. So I'm actually going to take it off autopilot now and just fly the plane manually. It doesn't look like we're anywhere close to Winslow yet. Seems like it's a lot faster flying out the Meteor Crater than it is flying back. And there's Winslow right in front of me. So I'm just going to fly. I'm just going to do a straight in approach and not even hit the circuit. If I was flying with multiple people or on VATSIM or Pilot Edge or something like that, if I wanted to pay for Pilot Edge, I'd probably worry about circuits, but I'm just going to land straight in. Kicking that second notch of flaps. As we kick in over the fence here, just lower the throttle a little bit. Like I said, it can be a tricky landing here with all the wind if you use real-time weather, so just be aware of that. as we come in over the numbers. Throttle back to idle. Just let the airplane land itself. And there we go. Okay, I'd like to thank you for viewing this video. Like I said, if you have an area that you would like me to fly to, any natural formation or anything like that, just leave your suggestion in the comments below, and thank you for joining us on this flight.